That was Manchester then, and this is Manchester now. And this guy has at least something to do with it, and now he's coming to number 10 to be Prime Minister. So how much does Andy Burnham have to do with the great Manchester boom?
And can he apply it to the rest of the country?
My understanding is that the Shadow Home Secretary Andy Burnham...
10 years ago, I was the first to break the news about Burnham quitting Parliament to head north and run for the newly created position of Greater Manchester Mayor. It was seen as a significant surprise for a former Cabinet Minister.
Since he's become mayor, he's been responsible for things like integrating the transport system, the B network, a booming nightlife and cultural scene, the economy in the country's fastest growing city. It's all part of something Andy Burnham refers to as Manchesterism. But what does that mean, even to people here? Manchesterism. Manchesterism.
Beautiful.
Manchesterism.
What's that?
Does that mean anything to you?
Kind of.
I caught it. Yeah,
Do you know what it
sounds like vibes, no.
Andy Burnham.
Do you think Manchester's sort of developed, changed? Are there opportunities here? More?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities here. It's like, it's changed quite a lot.
It's changed
Yeah.
for the dearie.
Do you back what he's saying in Manchester? Do you think you can take it to the rest
Yeah,
of the country?
I back him.
Look, give it a go. I'm not a hugely political guy, but haven't been that impressed with decisions of late.
It could work. He's a good guy. I'm behind him.
Andy Burnham, for me, isn't the man for the job.
We don't know.
Doing, I don't know.
What do you reckon? Manchester model?
Doing things differently.
I was born and brought up here in Manchester, and in the mid-1990s, like today, music came from here in the Castlefield Arena. And on one night in 1993, thousands of young Mancunians, including me, queued up in the rain, convinced that we were going to be awarded the 2000 Olympic Games, much to the mockery of the rest of the country and the Australians. Of course, it went to Sydney, but it's an example of the city's big ambition, big heart, but there were some big problems too.
Then, exactly 3 decades ago, a devastating IRA bomb hit. Local leaders in the city and the surrounding boroughs that make up Greater Manchester decided to plan to rebuild the city from the centre and allow it to grow. You can get an idea of the projects that emerged and are still emerging, part of a long-term, centrally driven plan, ultimately funded by the private sector and the biggest investors in the world, regenerating areas like Mayfield around the site of an old rail freight line.
Music events and raves in the track beds, inside the track beds where the old railways.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's one of the largest scale current projects in the centre, and Nat has been tasked with reinventing a disused rail depot.
I mean, this would be an amazing place to have a rave.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
That's too much fun, that.
Making it yeah, so I work for Broadwick. We basically look after unique and interesting spaces and put culture into each of those spaces, or music. So, you know, all kinds of DJs from all over the world have come here, and it's a real sort of like cultural music scene that really put Depot Mayfield and Mayfield on the map. We've recently just had the Banksy exhibition. Which is the first time it's ever been in this country, and it's really exciting because we're getting some firsts. And it's not necessarily that we're bringing things from London to here, we're bringing things from all over the world into Manchester as a first.
And you said you had Andy Burnham DJ'd here, did he?
He did DJ here.
DJ here?
He DJ'd here.
No, that's...
It was last year, the year before.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
What the people that have been part of the Manchester sort of boom think of the idea of this man taking it to the whole rest of the country?
Oh, well, I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah, we're right behind him.
What was he good? Was he a good DJ, Burnham?
I wasn't there, I can't say.
Well,
I'm sure he was great.
It sounds like a no.
Sounds like a politician's answer.
If you take a look at Manchester's big economic numbers, they are impressive. Productivity, that's outputs per hour worked. Big problem for the United Kingdom. Well, Manchester has outstripped all the other major cities and the UK average. If you take a look at Greater Manchester, then the economy since 2015 has grown faster than any other similar region.
And below the disused train platforms, I met Dan, who runs the bar and food markets at Freight Island.
So this is our outdoor space, so we use this for loads of different events, or it's the biggest beer garden in Manchester. It's our central barbecue. We're coming inside, so this is Food Avenue, where we start with some of our kitchens.
Should have saved myself for lunch.
And the original concept for us is to be sort of an always-on festival.
Oh no, there we go. So this is like, if you like, a kind of typical Mancunian experiment in hospitality industry.
It was pretty innovative at its time, which is typically Mancunian, and it was born of all the things that make up the hospitality industry here, which is the independent food, the drink.
Does it help that Manchester, and do you see the notion that Manchester has been faster growing than other cities in?
Yeah, 100%. The city coming on leaps and bounds every year and has been over the last 10, 15, 20 years. There's a huge population in the city centre which is growing and growing and growing, and obviously it's really tough times for everybody, but I still walk around Manchester and visit incredible bars and restaurants all the time and just think, wow, we're really lucky here.
There's this idea that from Andy Burnham that he can take a Manchester model and apply it across the United Kingdom. Can you see that?
Yeah, I think that constant investment into the city centre itself, trying to sort of relax some elements of bureaucracy to try and let things flourish, I think is a really key thing to do.
And that's what you saw here?
I think so, yeah.
But what do Manchester's growing young workforce think of it all?
We went to university in Sheffield and then came to Manchester and worked here. Yeah.
Now it's like Manchester, London of the North, so like everyone who I know who's from Leeds or Sheffield moves to Manchester, and all my uni mates that are sort of from Oxford and stuff will move down to London.
If I said the following word, does this mean much to you? Manchesterism.
No, I don't know that before.
No. Okay. So Manchesterism is what Andy Burnham says is the model of the economy in Manchester. Lots of big towers and regeneration. Would you say it's worked from what you can see?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how much the big towers benefit general people,
right?
Because they're really unaffordable housing. They're really expensive, and half of them are empty. The people I know who are from Manchester are now moving further and further out because it's becoming more unaffordable to live actually in Manchester.
Do you think the Manchester model has worked? That's down.
Manchester's population has turned round over the past quarter century, especially in the city centre, from just a few hundred in the 1980s to tens of thousands. And now Manchester has net inflows of Londoners too.
So this is it. This is the gold mine. A huge number of graduates in the city who these days are finding good jobs and staying in Manchester.
That wasn't always the case. It wasn't the case for me, and actually the former mayor himself. We spoke earlier this year.
I had to do what so many people of my generation, born in the 60s or 70s in the northwest of England, had to do. To get on in life, we had to go south. The really most amazing thing I can tell you about what's changed is that now it's a reverse. No one here has to leave to get on in life.
A growing city needs investment. His powers were seen most actively in transport. The buses and train network were placed under local control. The city wants to grow, but it doesn't have the levers of power to invest and borrow, as London or most equivalent cities in Europe do.
This is platform 13 and 14, Manchester Piccadilly Station. It's actually the only east-west through platform in Greater Manchester. In fact, for the whole region, the Transpennine trains, successive Manchester leaders, including Andy Burnham, have wanted to build an underground station, the King's Cross of the North, 4 platforms. They haven't had much luck. Frustrating Andy Burnham, just the sort of project he thinks that these regions should have the power to build and fund themselves, but he was knocked back even when he was second in charge of the Treasury.
There are some significant differences across the UK nations and English regions in terms of spending. Transport spending per person is concentrated in London, double most other places, treble the East Midlands. The North West is now just above average, an improvement possibly the result of assertive mayors. Take a look at another area. Science spending per head significantly higher in London than elsewhere, with the North West especially low. As mayor, he said this must change. He has the power to do so now. Murta runs a left-leaning research organisation called the IPPR North.
The status quo currently is not working. We are one of the most regionally unequal countries in the whole of the developed world. We're more unequal than Germany, that was split in half for 40 years. So our research has shown there's a very big discrepancy in transport funding and how much the North receives versus London. And when it comes to rebalancing the country, undeniably some of those formulas will have to change.
But if you're in London and the South East, you say, well, hang on,
There are more commuters there. In terms of the train network, that's more expensive. They pay the taxes there. That's where the growth is. That's what they would argue. Don't divert investment from us.
I think the point with devolution is that it goes to all mayors. So that includes London, and London has very successfully built an Elizabeth line. There are, with extra powers, there are no reasons why you can't build 5 more.
We will create a more streamlined state with a clearer purpose. Number 10 North will be the nerve centre of a rewired Britain.
This is number 10 North, but it doesn't exist yet. It will be temporarily housed in a government building just like this in the centre of Manchester. And Andy Burnham's theory is that having the country's most powerful decision makers here in Manchester will change the conversation and change decisions too.
You don't have to go far from the gleaming towers of the city centre to see a different world. Crumpsall, just 2 miles away, is where the volunteers of Abraham Moss Warriors Football Club are helping families get by.
They're pretty good, these boys.
Yeah, they are. They are doing a fantastic job over here, and they just enjoying trying to stay away from the streets.
Who's the top scorer?
The big lad, Adrian over there, of course. Of course, he's a striker.
He's going to be good at heading.
Yeah, it is.
The formidable June Kelly started the club 26 years ago, and it now helps just under 1,000 kids.
What do they think of the shining towers in the centre of Manchester? Are they connected with them at
A
all?
lot of them don't even go. Like I said, a lot of them don't even go into the city centre because there's nothing there for them. There's nothing there for them to actually go into.
But there could be.
You know, no, there could be. That's it. The point is there could be, and we're trying to give them hopes and aspirations that actually, you know, they could be working in one of those towers, you know, one day. Like 10 years ago, hardly any of our 16, 17, 18-year-olds would have dreamt of going to college or university. Now every single one of our 16 and 17-year-olds have either got an apprenticeship or going to college or university. I said, you know, they've got those aspirations now, whereas they didn't used to have them before.
You know, you've got Mr. Manchester, Andy Burnham, sort of heading to London, heading to run the country.
Yeah,
Will you have to do something on the cost of living?
We really do. We really do. I mean, I would say 99.9% of our families are below the poverty line. They're on benefits. You know, nearly everybody.
Volunteer coach Sid is a success story of the club, heading for an apprenticeship at a car company.
Do you think these boys feel connected to what's going on in the centre of Manchester?
I would say, in a sense, yeah, they do, in terms of like being given the opportunities. For example, a brand new leisure centre was opened in the areas, but I think more could be done. For example, could have more opportunities. Maybe there's a funding issue.
As Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham often criticised the Starmer administration for their approach to funding in tougher areas. For example, the 2-child limit and those reversed cuts to disability benefits. Now, as Prime Minister, it is he and his Chancellor who will be ultimately responsible for making the numbers add up.
They're all new and built in the last, or finished in the last 5 or so years.
Has the sort of gleaming skyscrapers and the sort of culture-led development left some people behind? Obviously, like Shelter put out numbers about the centre of Greater Manchester, seeing 1 in 61 people are homeless. What measure is that of how successful Manchesterism has been, or not?
So we are very conscious of that, and myself and the 10 leaders here, we do talk about that all of the time. And we believe we need not perhaps to do some of the things that London did as it changed when the mayor came in the early 2000s, and you know, the gentrification of places. Now there's a degree of that everywhere and here as well, but what we're trying to do is make sure that we get ahead of these things and put in place the council homes and the social homes to create housing that everybody can afford. So a symbol of that change is right now the first social homes are being built in Manchester city centre for 40 years. So when it comes to right versus left, well, we've always been very pro-business, pro-enterprise here, you know that, but Greater Manchester is not the kind of place where people say, oh, well, I'm all right, Jack, and I'll just walk on by on the other side. So yes, we say the vision of the left about making sure these essentials of life are there for everybody at a level they can afford is absolutely part of Manchesterism and the way that we think here. But they are also the drivers and the foundations of a more productive economy.
Something clearly has gone right here in Manchester, a process that predates Mr. Burnham, but to which he has contributed over the past decade. Above all, it shows the benefits of a long-term plan that business, politics, education can all buy into, and the role of some optimistic can-do spirit. But it also takes a long time. 30 years here, British Prime Ministers are lucky if they get 30 months.